Hi there, I'm Tom Field. I'm Senior Vice President of Editorial with Information Security Media Group. Very pleased to welcome you to a preview of the upcoming roundtable discussion. The topic, MLOps and the role of Gen AI in securing the software supply chain. My pleasure to be sitting here today with Shubha Rao. She's a subject matter expert, and she happens to be the solutions engineering leader with JFrog. Shubha, thanks so much for taking time to speak with me.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for the invite.
Shubha, what would you say are the software supply chain security risks that most concern you today?
There are a few different ones. For example, when you look at a software supply chain, the major or the biggest conversation that we are having today is actually about the audit capability. And the second one is actually the vulnerabilities that get introduced in your pipeline as such. So when I say audit capability, it's most of the companies are struggling today to understand what artifact or what data or what is your release? How does it look like? When was it released? Who was involved in this release? And what are the different processes that it has taken for an artifact to be released? So all these things come into picture. More so, this is more important when you have a vulnerability that gets associated with it. I'm sure all all the people, all of them are aware of the Log4j issue. When it happened, it basically wrecked people's Christmas.
Did
So, so this is again one of the biggest issue. And with Log4j, both the issues surfaced, right? One was the audit, and the second one was what is the vulnerability, and do I have to fix it or not? Those are the two main ones.
Now, where do you see the opportunity for artificial intelligence and machine learning to help to address these issues?
There are a few places. One is, again, if you take a look at AI ML as such, it's good mostly on the shift left aspect of it. That is where you get the most ROI. You move to shift right, there is some ROI or there is some places where you can probably use it. But most of the value that you get is on the coding aspect of it. Coding or build process is where AI ML is very important. Let's take an example, right? Gen AI is something, there are multiple Gen AI tools today. So Gen AI actually helps you create a, a pack or code, a snippet of code that will help you fasten your development process. But at the same time, there are some issues with Gen AI tools as well. So here is where when you look at the AI ML as such, there are a lot of pros, but when you look at it and you have to make sure you're using it the right way to get the most out of it. The other thing that AI can actually help you is when you're downloading something from the internet, a dependency from the internet, you want to understand what are the risks associated with it. It may be an operational risk, it may be a vulnerability risk, it may be a license risk. So you need to be able to identify that. So this is where it can help. So this is mostly from the shift left, as I said, it'll help you from a vulnerability perspective. For the audit capability, uh, because you have all these logs that you can actually use to understand what has been downloaded, where, when, and how the decision-making process has gone in to promote a particular artifact between different stages, AI can definitely come in there as a gating mechanism as well.
I was going to ask if you had any actual use cases of DevOps teams leveraging Gen AI, but it sounds like you've just described some pretty good ones. Anything you want to add to those?
Yeah. So one of the things, for example, so when you say Gen AI, you're referring to the Gen AI from a coding perspective, correct? Yeah. Um, it can be in your IDE. An IDE integration for the Gen AI tools is the best way today. You have multiple Gen AI tools that actually work with your IDEs. So when you are writing code itself, there are specific keys that when you use it or when you actually prompt it to complete the code, it'll actually complete the code properly, right? So it'll complete the code snippet, and then you can say whether it's good to go or not, and then you can proceed further. So that's one of the most common Gen AI use cases that I've seen.
Talk to me about JFrog. How are you helping customers to take best advantage of Gen AI and other emerging technologies?
So a few places. One, The if you look at JFrog, we are completely in the artifact space. That means anything you've created your code, you deploy it into your code versioning system. And even before that, even when you're writing your code, there are a lot of dependencies that you're downloading from the internet today. This is where the JFrog platform comes in, helping you understand what is it that you can use and what is it that you shouldn't use, right? So this is where our security comes into picture, helping you with understanding the operational risk or the license risk or the vulnerability. The other one today, which is very specific from a Gen AI perspective, is we are coming up with, we already have a tool called Catalog, and we are coming up with something called Chatalog, wherein you can actually ask what is the best version to use. And it'll give you a more opinionated approach and the reason behind that opinion as well. Okay, so this is super helpful. The other place where we come in as well is when you have a vulnerability, you want to understand why that vulnerability is a problem and what is the priority associated with it. So that's also a place where JFrog can completely help you.
Well, Shub, I think it's a great topic. I think it'll be well received. When we get these attendees together, what do you most want to learn from this roundtable?
For me, I want to understand what are the common issues that they are facing today. And I also want to be able to help the attendees understand what is it that we as solution engineers see happening in the field. Gen AI and ML at the end of the day is something happening. So it's moving so fast that there might be things that we are missing. So I want to have a conversation on what are the common issues they are seeing and how we can help.
Very good. Shubha, thanks so much for helping me to promote the event.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Again, the topic is MLOps and the role of Gen AI in securing the software supply chain. You just heard from our subject matter expert. She is Shubha Rao, Solutions Engineering Leader with JFrog. If you want to know more about this event, check out the registration information right on this page. I look forward to seeing you there. Until then, for Information Security Media Group, I'm Tom Field. Thank you so much for your time and your attention today.